They fired me at 50, by email, after 18 years. Pack your desk, you're dead weight. That night, the deal lawyers called. We can't close the $180 million merger without your patent. I smiled. Then your CEO can beg. He went pale. Subreddit. The email came at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Not a phone call, not a meeting, not even the courtesy of a Zoom call where they pretend to look sad. Just a form letter that probably got sent to a dozen people that week. Your services are no longer required, effective immediately. Please return all company property by end of business day. HR will contact you regarding final compensation and termination of benefits. I read it 3 times, felt my chest tighten. 18 years, and this is how it ends. A copy-paste email some HR intern probably drafted. That email just became the biggest mistake NextCore Solutions ever made. I, 50 male, was sitting in my cube when it came through, middle of debugging a memory leak that had been crashing their payment processing system for 3 days, the kind of problem that makes junior developers cry and senior management panic. I'd been there since 6 a.m. trying to track down the issue because Ethan, our genius CEO, had promised a client demo by Friday. The irony? I'd just found the bug. 20 minutes before the email arrived, I'd isolated the issue to a race condition in the async payment handler. The fix was elegant too, just needed to implement a mutex lock on the transaction queue and add a retry mechanism with exponential backoff. Would have taken me another hour to write the code, maybe 2 hours to test it properly. I'd already drafted the commit message in my head. Ethan's client demo? That was happening because of me. Or it would have been if they hadn't just fired the only person who understood their entire payment infrastructure. The junior devs would stare at that bug for weeks before giving up and calling an expensive consultant who'd charge triple my salary to fix what I could have done in an afternoon. But that wasn't my problem anymore. I packed my desk in 20 minutes. Laptop, cables, the coffee mug Dylan gave me last Christmas. Security watched me load everything into a box like I might steal the staplers. Ethan didn't come down to say goodbye. None of the executives did. Just HR sending me out with an escort like I was some kind of threat. 18 years gone in 20 minutes. I drove home thinking about rent, about how long my savings would last, about explaining to my ex-wife Dana that alimony payments might be late, about the job market for 50-year-old engineers who hadn't interviewed in nearly 2 decades. My 1-bedroom apartment felt smaller when I walked in at 4:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Still $2,800 a month, still too expensive now that I had 0 income and no prospects. I made a sandwich, ate it standing at the counter, cracked open an energy drink even though it was barely 5 p.m. Then I sat on my couch and stared at my phone like it might have answers. It buzzed around 6 p.m. Text from Dylan, one of the junior developers I'd trained. "Scott, what happened? Ethan just sent an all-hands email saying we're streamlining operations. Everyone's freaking out. Are you okay?" I typed back, "I'm fine, just got restructured out. You'll be fine too. Keep your head down and do good work." "Dude, this feels wrong. You built half this company." "Me? Doesn't matter who built it, matters who signs the checks." I didn't hear back from Dylan after that. Probably smart on his part. Getting too friendly with fired employees is a good way to become one. The next few days were a blur of applications and rejection emails. Every job posting wanted someone younger, cheaper, more desperate. Age discrimination is illegal, but nobody tells you that to your face. They just say, "We're going with a candidate who's a better cultural fit," or "We're looking for someone with more recent experience in frameworks you invented 15 years ago." By Friday, I'd applied to 63 jobs, got 17 automated rejections, got 46 silences that felt worse than rejection. Saturday morning, I ate cereal and scrolled LinkedIn looking at pictures of people still employed, former colleagues posting about team lunches and company milestones, Ethan updating his profile to mention the merger he'd been working on for 6 months, big tech acquisition, Nextcore getting bought by Vortex Solutions for $180 million. Ethan's big payday, the thing he'd been bragging about since January.
I was about to close the app when a notification popped up. News article. Nextcore Solutions' $180 million Vortex acquisition stalls amid due diligence crisis. I sat up straight, read the article twice. The merger Ethan had been bragging about for 6 months was falling apart. Something about intellectual property disputes. Vortex Solutions was conducting additional technical review of Nextcore's core assets. My phone buzzed again. Text from Dylan. "Scott, are you seeing this? Everyone here is losing their minds. HR is running around with boxes. Ethan locked himself in his office. It's something about the legacy platform code." Legacy platform code. That was my work. I got up and walked to my desk, started digging through old papers until I found what I was looking for. Gray external hard drive, dusty as heck. Back in 2006, before Nextcore got paranoid about security, we all kept local copies of code. I plugged it in, found the adaptive load distribution module I'd written 18 years ago, the thing that let Nextcore scale from 100 users to 100,000 without the whole system collapsing. I didn't need the code to prove anything. The patent was the real leverage. But seeing the actual work again reminded me exactly what I'd built and when. Then I remembered a conversation from 18 years ago. An old systems engineer I trusted, IBM guy who'd seen every corporate trick, had pulled me aside after an all-hands meeting where Ethan took credit for my architecture redesign. "Scott, you wrote that load balancer on your own time, right? On your personal machine. Look at your contract dates. You wrote this as a contractor before they brought you on full-time. There's a gap. Any IP created by contractor on personal equipment outside billable hours remains contractor property until formally assigned. You need to file a patent." He'd watched 3 startups pull this same move in the 80s. Engineers building everything, executives claiming ownership, then those engineers getting fired right before acquisition payouts. "They always think they're clever," he'd said. "They never check the dates." I thought he was paranoid, but I respected him, so I filed, paid the fees out of pocket, sent it to the USPTO, and forgot about it until tonight. I dug through my files, found it buried in a folder called Legal Stuff. Letter from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, patent number 8532991. Adaptive Load Distribution in Decentralized Modular Architectures. Inventor, Scott Walsh. Status, granted. Not assigned to Nextcore Solutions. Just me. My hand started shaking. This was it. This was the nuclear option I didn't even know I had. Ethan had just tried to sell a car he didn't own, and the buyer had figured it out during due diligence. That's what was stopping the deal. Vortex's lawyers had done their homework, traced the IP chain of title, and found a dead end where Nextcore's ownership should have been. Every acquisition agreement has an IP warranty clause. Ethan had signed warranties he couldn't back up, and he didn't even know it yet. I stared at that patent document for about 20 minutes straight. Patent number 8532991. My name, my invention, not Nextcore Solutions. The adaptive load distribution system wasn't some minor feature you could rip out and replace. It was the entire backbone of their platform. Without it, Nextcore's software couldn't handle more than a few hundred concurrent users before the whole system started timing out and crashing. With it, they'd scale to hundreds of thousands of users across multiple industries. It was the reason Vortex wanted to buy them in the first place. And I owned it. Not Ethan. Not Nextcore's investors, not the board of directors. Me. I called my attorney Monday morning. She was an IP attorney I'd worked with years ago when Nextcore tried to patent one of my database optimization techniques. She'd helped me navigate that mess, made sure my name stayed on the patent alongside the company's. She was expensive, but she was thorough. "Scott," she said when she answered, "I haven't heard from you in, 3 years? 4? I need your help again." "What's the situation?" "I got fired last week. Company's trying to complete a merger. I own a patent they think they can sell. They can't." "Tell me more." I explained the whole situation.
The firing, the merger, the patent I'd filed 18 years ago. My attorney listened without interrupting, which I appreciated. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Scott, do you understand what you're sitting on? A patent. Leverage. Serious leverage. If this adaptive load distribution system is as critical as you say, then NextCore can't complete this acquisition without your permission, and Vortex can't acquire what NextCore doesn't own. So what do I do? Nothing yet. Let me review the patent, your employment contracts, and the acquisition timeline. Don't contact anyone at NextCore. Don't respond to any emails or calls. Let me handle this. How long will it take? Give me 48 hours. My attorney called back Wednesday afternoon. Scott, this is better than I thought. Your freelance agreement from 2006 explicitly states that any IP created on personal equipment outside billable hours remains contractor property unless formally assigned. You wrote this code 3 days before your full-time employment began. NextCore never requested assignment, never paid for it, never even acknowledged the patent existed. So I'm good? You're bulletproof. I'm going to draft a letter to NextCore's legal team and Vortex's counsel, polite but firm. You own patent 8532991. Any use or transfer requires your explicit permission, and right now, you're not giving permission. What happens next? They panic. Then they call me, then we negotiate. The panic came faster than expected. Friday morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered because I wanted to hear how they'd spin this. Mr. Walsh, male voice, professional, stressed, like a man watching his career implode in real time. This is NextCore's general counsel. I need to speak with you urgently about patent 8532991. You can speak with my attorney. Mr. Walsh, I understand you're upset about your termination, but this is a separate matter. We need to resolve this quickly. The Vortex acquisition is between NextCore and Vortex, not me. You're being difficult. I'm being represented by counsel. Talk to my attorney. I hung up. My attorney called 10 minutes later, laughing. They're freaking out. He just called me screaming about interference with contract and threatened litigation. I told him to go ahead and sue. He backed down immediately. What now? Now we wait. They'll try Ethan next. She was right. Ethan called Saturday morning. I was drinking coffee and watching reruns when his name popped up on my phone. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part, the petty, vindictive part, wanted to hear what he'd say. I answered. Ethan? Scott? His voice had that fake friendly tone he used with clients. Hey, I know things ended badly last week. I want to apologize for that. It was a business decision, nothing personal. Okay. Look, I'm calling about the patent situation. Their lawyer mentioned you have some concerns about IP ownership. I think there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. I own patent 8532991. You don't. Scott, come on. You wrote that code while working for NextCore. You used our resources, our infrastructure. I wrote it on my personal laptop during a weekend before I was even a full-time employee, on my own time. An old mentor told me to file the patent, and I did. NextCore never asked for it. This is going to kill the merger. That's your problem, not mine. 47 people are going to lose their jobs because you're being vindictive. That stung, but I kept my voice level. 47 people are going to lose their jobs because you tried to sell assets you don't own. I'm just the guy who noticed. Scott, please, we can work something out. Name your price. I'm not interested in working with you, Ethan. Talk to my attorney. I hung up before he could respond. Then I did something I hadn't planned on doing, something that would change how this whole thing played out. I texted Dylan. I'm not trying to screw you. I'm trying to keep you employed. Tell people to stop calling me and tell them to document everything Ethan says. Dylan responded 20 minutes later. What's happening? Can't discuss details. Just know I'm working to protect engineering. Don't sign anything new without reading it. Back up your personal stuff. Update resumes. Are we getting laid off? Not if I can help it.
Then I sent an email to the engineering team distribution list. Not to executives, just engineers. Short, calm. Team, I can't discuss details about what's happening with the merger, but I want you to know I'm working to protect engineering jobs. Don't sign anything new without reading it carefully. Back up personal files. Keep your resumes current. Document everything management tells you about the situation. Within an hour, I started getting responses, not angry, not accusing, confused, concerned, but supportive. One engineer, "Whatever you're doing, thank you for thinking of us." Another, "Ethan tried blaming you in the all-hands yesterday. Nobody's buying it. We know this is on him." Dylan, "People are asking what they should do. Ethan won't answer basic questions." That was important. Ethan was losing the room. He tried to turn them against me, but engineers aren't stupid. They see patterns, they ask questions, and when leadership can't answer those questions, they start recording. My attorney called Monday morning. "Scott, I just got off the phone with Vortex's general counsel. They want to meet you, me, Ethan, and their legal team." "When?" "Thursday in San Francisco." "What are they offering?" They didn't say, but Vortex's general counsel was very interested in the engineering team, asked if you had relationships with key technical staff. I told him you trained most of them. What does that mean? It means Vortex is thinking about alternatives. They might not need NextCore at all. Ethan tried everything that week. Tuesday morning, NextCore's IT department called demanding I return the external hard drive with proprietary code. I told them to talk to my attorney. She sent them a cease and desist letter explaining that my personal backups weren't their leverage point. The patent was. The code was just my personal reference to confirm dates and authorship. They backed off. Wednesday, NextCore's HR department sent a letter claiming my possession of proprietary development artifacts violated my employment agreement. They were trying to frame my ownership of my own code as theft. My attorney shut that down too. But Ethan's approach was different. He went directly after the team. Dylan called Wednesday evening. His voice was shaky. "Scott, Ethan came down to the engineering floor today. He gathered everyone in the conference room. He was really intense." "What did he say?" "He said the deal might fall through because of legal complications with legacy code. Said if that happens, the whole department gets laid off. Everyone's freaking out." I felt my jaw tighten. Ethan was using them as hostages. "Dylan, listen carefully. Ethan is lying to you. The deal isn't falling apart because of me. It's falling apart because he tried to sell technology he doesn't own." "I know," Dylan whispered, "but people are scared. Some people are panicking." "What are people saying?" "Ethan tried blaming you, said you're holding the company hostage. But here's the thing, nobody really bought it. Ethan wouldn't answer when people asked direct questions. He just kept repeating, 'one disgruntled employee.' People started looking at each other like something was off." That was good. The team was seeing through Ethan's nonsense. "How bad is it?" I asked. "People are confused. They don't know what to believe. But Ethan's making it worse. He won't give straight answers." Dylan paused. "I recorded part of the meeting on my phone because Ethan was being so weird about documentation." "Smart. Scott, what's really happening? I can't discuss details, but I need you to trust me. Whatever happens with this deal, I'm making sure the engineering team is protected. That's my priority. How? You'll see. Just keep documenting everything Ethan says and tell people to stay calm. This isn't going to end the way Ethan thinks it will." Over the next 2 days, I got more calls and texts from team members, but they weren't angry calls demanding I stop. They were different. One engineer, "Ethan said you're blocking the merger, but this feels wrong. What should we do?" Another, "Ethan wouldn't explain the legal issue when I asked, just said Scott's being difficult. What aren't they telling us?" Dylan sent me a screenshot, Ethan's Slack message to the engineering channel. "Legal complications from a former employee. Can't discuss specifics. Trust that leadership is handling it." No details, no transparency. Just corporate speak that made people more suspicious, not less. Even the VP of engineering, the one who'd signed off on my termination, sent a careful text. "Whatever you're planning, I hope it works out for the team." The team wasn't against me. They were watching, waiting, trying to figure out who to trust, and Ethan was losing them. Vortex Solutions headquarters was a glass tower in downtown San Francisco. Intimidating lobby, expensive everything, the kind of place where the coffee machines probably cost more than my car. I barely slept the night before, kept running through scenarios in my head. What if they sided with Ethan? What if I was walking into an ambush? But walking through those doors Thursday morning with my attorney beside me, I didn't feel intimidated. I felt like a 50-year-old engineer with 18 years of corporate battle scars and the deed to a technology empire. The conference room on the 32nd floor was set up like a tribunal. Long walnut table, leather chairs that probably cost $1,500 each, windows overlooking the bay. At the head sat Vortex's general counsel, silver hair, sharp eyes that had seen every corporate maneuver in the book. And sitting next to him, looking like he'd aged 5 years and 3 days, was Ethan. Ethan's usual navy suit was wrinkled, his tie wasn't quite straight. The golden boy facade was cracking under pressure. When he saw me walk in, his jaw clenched so hard I could see it from across the room. "Scott," Ethan said, not standing. "Didn't realize this was going to be a joint meeting." "Sit down, Mr. Cole," the general counsel said quietly. Ethan was already sitting. The comment was just to remind him who was in charge here. The Vortex general counsel looked at me and my attorney. "Mr. Walsh, counselor, thank you for coming. As you know, Vortex is finalizing the acquisition of NextCore Solutions. However, the patent ownership question has created complications." "There's no complication. This is a disgruntled former employee trying to leverage a paperwork error into a payday. We have comprehensive IP assignment clauses in all our employment contracts. This is extortion." My attorney slid a document across the table. "That's Mr. Walsh's original freelance agreement from 18 years ago. Section 4, subsection C, states that any intellectual property created by the contractor on personal equipment outside billable hours remains contractor property until formally assigned. Mr. Walsh wrote the adaptive load distribution logic on his personal laptop during a weekend, 3 days before his full-time employment began. He filed patent number 8532911 in his own name. NextCore never requested assignment, never paid for assignment, never even acknowledged it existed until this acquisition started falling apart." The general counsel picked up the document, read it carefully. His expression didn't change, but I saw his eyes narrow slightly when he got to the dates. He looked at Ethan. "Is this accurate?" "It's a technicality. The spirit of the agreement was that all development work belonged to NextCore. Actually, I worked from home that weekend because the office computers were garbage, and the spirit of the law doesn't matter in federal court. You know that, Ethan. You just thought I was too stupid to figure out I owned something valuable." Ethan's face went red. "Don't you dare." "Dare what? Tell the truth? You built your entire company on technology you never owned. You sold that company to Vortex for $180 million, and now you're sitting in this conference room realizing you can't deliver what you promised. This is interference with contract. I have investors, board obligations, 47 employees who are going to lose their jobs because you're being petty." "I'm not being petty, Ethan. I'm being smart, something you should have tried before firing your lead architect." The silence in that room was deafening, everyone waiting to see who'd break first. The Vortex general counsel held up a hand. "Gentlemen, let's keep this professional." He turned to me. "Mr. Walsh, what's your actual goal here?" "Good question. Direct. No nonsense." "My goal is simple. I want the engineers protected, the people who actually built this company, while Ethan took credit at investor meetings. They're talented, they're hardworking, they deserve better than getting laid off because their CEO tried to sell assets he doesn't own." Ethan laughed, bitter and sharp. "Oh, that's rich. You're doing this for the team? People are panicking right now. You're destroying their livelihoods to make a point." "No, Ethan. You destroyed their livelihoods when you tried to pull off this merger without doing basic legal due diligence. I'm just the guy who noticed." The general counsel checked his watch. "Mr. Walsh, let me be direct. Vortex is interested in your technology. We're interested in the engineering team that understands it. We've mapped your organization. We know who actually runs it. What would it take for you to license this patent directly to Vortex?" And there it was. Ethan went pale. "Wait, we have a signed acquisition agreement. You can't just—" "The acquisition agreement is contingent on clear title to all intellectual property," the general counsel said, not looking at Ethan, "which NextCore can't provide. That gives us grounds to terminate. Section 7.3, material breach. Your IP warranty was false. The deal's dead unless we choose to restructure it. But the company is worthless without this deal. The board will sue me. The investors will sue me. I'll lose everything." "That's not Vortex's problem," the general counsel said coldly. "That's yours." He slid a folder across the table to Ethan. "Our legal team drafted exit papers once this surfaced. Section 7.3 gives us clean exit rights. We've already notified our board. This meeting is a courtesy, Mr. Cole. The acquisition is dead whether you like it or not." Ethan turned to me. For a second, his mask dropped completely. I saw real fear in his eyes. "Scott, please, we can work something out. Name your price, just don't do this." I looked at him for a long moment, thought about all the times he'd taken credit for my work, all the late nights I'd fixed his mistakes, the email that fired me without explanation. "Actually, Ethan, I am going to work something out with Vortex, not with you." The general counsel nodded. "Mr. Walsh, we'd like to offer you a licensing agreement, exclusive rights to the patent. You'll oversee technical integration. But before we discuss your compensation, I need to know, what are your conditions?" I leaned forward. "I have one non-negotiable condition. Employment offers for NextCore's entire engineering staff. Competitive salaries, full benefits, before I signed anything." The general counsel exchanged a glance with his CTO. "That aligns with our backup plan. We vetted staff, but it's going to impact the licensing fee structure." "I understand. The hiring cost can come out of my compensation." Ethan stood up fast enough to knock his chair back. "You can't do this! I built this company, 7 years of my life!" "We're not stealing anything," the general counsel said. "We're negotiating with the actual owner of the assets we want. You're welcome to sue us if you think you have grounds." Security appeared at the door. Ethan looked at them, then at me, then at the general counsel. "This isn't over," Ethan said. "Yes, it is," I said. "You're just figuring it out late." They escorted Ethan out. The room got very quiet after the door closed. The general counsel looked at my attorney and me. "Well, that was clarifying. Now let's discuss actual terms." He paused. "And, Mr. Walsh, I want you to understand something. The engineering hiring package was already in our plans. We're not taking that out of your licensing fee. You're getting both." The licensing agreement took 6 days to finalize. My attorney and I sat in that conference room for hours each day, fighting over every clause. Vortex's general counsel was tough but fair. He understood the value of what I was offering, which meant he pushed hard on price. The money was good. 7-figure upfront licensing payment, plus annual royalties tied to platform usage, plus equity in the combined entity, plus my consulting compensation package. And that didn't include the employment package for the team. The best part was still Clause 8. Vortex Solutions agrees to offer employment to all 47 members of NextCore's engineering staff at 15% salary increases with full benefits and equity grants effective immediately upon deal closure. These offers are made at the express recommendation of Scott Walsh as part of the licensing agreement.
I'd saved my team, and they'd know it was me. "This is unusual," the general counsel said when we finalized that clause. "Most licensing deals don't include hiring conditions, but my CTO says your team is worth it. And honestly, you taking less money so they get hired, that's the kind of integrity we want in our technical leadership." I took enough. I didn't need to take everything. My attorney shook my hand after we signed. "Scott, you just pulled off something I've never seen in 20 years of IP litigation. You took a failing company's core asset and turned it into a better deal for everyone except the people who screwed you over." That was the goal. We signed the papers the following Wednesday afternoon. My hand actually shook slightly when I put pen to paper. 18 years of work compressed into a single signature.
Trade blogs started hitting Thursday morning. Nextcore deal stalls over patent chain. Tech press rumor mill, Ethan Cole's IP story falls apart. Vortex insiders, licensing talks underway with Nextcore's original architect. My phone started blowing up around 10 a.m., but the call I was waiting for came from Dylan. "Scott, what the heck is happening? Vortex's HR team just emailed the entire engineering department. They're offering us jobs, 15% raises, better benefits, better equity, and the email specifically says this hiring decision is part of the licensing agreement negotiated with Scott Walsh." "You earned it, Dylan. All of you did." "Ethan's gone. The board fired him this morning. Security escorted out of the building. Fired. They're liquidating the company, selling off everything except the engineering team, which Vortex is hiring." Finally, some justice. "Scott?" Dylan's voice got quieter. "People are talking. They know what you did. Ethan tried blaming you in that all-hands meeting, but nobody bought it. And when this email landed with your name on it, everyone understood. You demanded we get hired as a condition of your deal." "I wasn't going to let Ethan use you as collateral damage. Some people thought you were just trying to tank the company out of spite, but you were protecting us the whole time." "I told you to trust me." "You did, and we should have listened from the start. Thank you, Scott, for everything." "You're welcome. Now get back to work. Vortex is a good company. Don't waste the opportunity." The rest of the day was chaos in the best way. More calls from former colleagues, more thank yous, more people who doubted me, now understanding what I'd actually been doing. One engineer called. "Wait, I heard the hiring costs came out of your licensing fee. Is that true? You took less money so we'd all get hired?" "I took enough. You guys are the ones who actually built the platform. You should benefit from it." "Man, that's really solid of you. Don't make it weird." Another team member sent a text. "You're a legend. Thank you for having our backs when leadership didn't." Dylan sent a voice note. "Dude, I just connected the dots. When you told us to document everything, you were building the case that Ethan was losing control. That's chess-level stuff." Even the VP of engineering, the one who'd signed off on my termination, called to apologize. "Scott, I'm sorry. Ethan told us the IP situation was handled. We didn't question it. That's on us." "Yeah, it is. For what it's worth, you did the right thing. Better thing than I would have done, probably." Nothing prepared me for the 6 p.m. phone call, though.
Dana. She didn't call to ask how I was. She called because she'd seen the headlines and her lawyer wanted to revisit support. My attorney didn't even bite on the income argument. She asked one question. Has she remarried? Turns out she had. Quiet courthouse paperwork, new last name showing up on a couple filings. I didn't know because I wasn't tracking her life like a hobby. In California, spousal support terminates on the supported spouse's remarriage, unless the order says otherwise, and ours didn't. My attorney filed the termination paperwork. Payment stopped. A week later, I got a voicemail that started with, "I've been thinking about us," and ended with, "I made a mistake." No real apology, just panic that the check wasn't coming anymore. I texted back, "Please communicate through counsel." She didn't leave another voicemail. Then, Nextcore's board tried to get involved. They sent their own lawyer to mediate the situation. Translation, they wanted to see if they could salvage anything from the wreckage Ethan had created. "The board is willing to assign any disputed claims to the patent," their lawyer said during one of the negotiation sessions. "In exchange, we'd like Mr. Walsh to consider a settlement that allows Nextcore to remain part of the transaction." Nextcore doesn't have any claims to assign. They never own the patent. That's the whole problem. But surely there's room for negotiation here. The company has value beyond just the patent. "No, it doesn't," the general counsel said bluntly. "We've reviewed everything. Without the patent, Nextcore is worthless to us. We're moving forward with direct licensing from Mr. Walsh." The board's lawyer left looking defeated. The fallout moved fast once the deal closed. Ethan was gone by Friday.
The board fired him for material breach of his employment contract, specifically the IP warranty clause. He lost his equity, his severance, everything. Last I heard, he was trying to start a consulting business. Good luck with that. The board liquidated NextCore within 3 weeks, sold off the office furniture, the lease, everything that wasn't nailed down, paid back investors at pennies on the dollar. Some of them tried to sue, but they didn't have grounds. Due diligence failure isn't fraud when the seller genuinely didn't know. Ethan genuinely didn't know. He'd been so convinced he owned everything that he never bothered to check. But the best part was watching the engineering team thrive at Vortex. Dylan got promoted to senior developer within 4 months. Other team members became leads for performance optimization and DevOps integration. All the people Ethan had treated as replaceable, they were flourishing. I settled into my new role as technical advisor. Good salary, better benefits, respect from people who understood what I'd built. And exactly 6 months after that meeting in San Francisco, I got a call I wasn't expecting. Ethan wanted to meet. We met at a coffee shop in Palo Alto, neutral territory. I arrived early, took a seat facing the door. Ethan walked in at 2:15 p.m., 15 minutes late.
He looked terrible. The expensive suit was gone, replaced by jeans and a button-down that had seen better days. The confident swagger was gone, too. He looked like someone who'd been punched in the face by reality and was still trying to figure out what happened. He ordered a coffee and sat down across from me without asking if the seat was taken. Scott. Ethan. We sat there for a moment. I didn't say anything. This was his meeting. He called it. He could start. I wanted to apologize, he finally said, for everything. For firing you without explanation, for trying to blame you when the deal fell apart, for using the team against you. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Ethan? You did all those things. Apology noted. Doesn't change anything. He ran his hand through his hair, looked out the window, looked back at me. I lost everything. The company's gone, my reputation's destroyed, nobody will work with me. I can't get funding, can't get hired. I'm 43 years old and I'm starting over from zero. Sounds rough. I'm not asking for sympathy. I know I messed up, but I'm asking for a second chance, some kind of opportunity. You're connected now. You have influence at Vortex. Maybe you could... No. Scott. No, Ethan. I'm not going to help you. His face hardened. Why not? You got everything you wanted. The team's safe. You're making money. You won. Why can't you just... Because you still don't get it. Then explain it to me. I don't owe you an explanation. Ethan's jaw clenched. So, that's it? You're going to hold a grudge forever? I'm not holding a grudge. I'm just not interested. He stood up. You know what, Scott? You're not better than me. You're just luckier. You happened to file a patent 18 years ago. That's it. That's the only reason you won. Even now, he didn't get it. Still thought this was about luck. Still thought I won on a technicality. I stood up too, looked him in the eye. I filed that patent because someone smarter than both of us told me to protect my work. You thought you owned everything because you had a fancy title. Turns out you didn't. I walked to the door, turned back once. Good luck with the consulting business. He didn't respond, just sat there, looking defeated. I walked outside. The afternoon sun hit my face. I took a breath, let it out slowly. Ethan wasn't my problem anymore. He was a cautionary tale, a reminder that you can't fake experience, you can't take credit for other people's work forever. Eventually, the foundation cracks, and when it does, the people who actually built it are the only ones who know how to fix it. 3 days later, I got a text from Dylan. New project kicked off today. Big integration with the legacy systems. Vortex's GC asked me to lead it, said you recommended me specifically. Told him you were the reason I know how to architect these things in the first place. I smiled, typed back. You earned it. Now go build something great. Because that's what it comes down to. You build things. You protect your team. You don't beg for respect. You earn it by doing work that matters. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and helps us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.